All right, good morning, PTNites Daily Show. Happy Thursday morning to you here on Instagram, up here on Facebook. Hope your day is off to a great start. My name is Alan. I'm happy to be your host today, currently serving as the Chief Operating Officer for the Institute of Clinical Excellence and faculty member in our Fitness Athlete Division. We are here on the PTNites Daily Show. It is Thursday, which means it is Leadership Thursday. It is also Gut Check Thursday. Gut Check Thursday this week. A 13-minute AMRAP, a 400-meter run, back in the door, 30 walking lunges, and then 20 ab mat sit-ups. The goal there, 3 to 5 rounds or so. If you're really pushing the pace, you'll clear 4 rounds, maybe get close to 5, especially if you're a really good runner on those 400s, and you can move through the lunges and sit-ups fairly quickly. So make sure you hit that this weekend. No equipment required. Great workout. If you're going up north to the cabin, you got some patients in the clinic, or you're just crunched for time. Other stuff going on at ICE. Virtual ICE is open. Enrollment is open as we open it once a week for this quarter. It is starting over, so we're starting our 5th year of virtual ICE. We have a bunch of fantastic guest speakers invited, and we have a lot more case studies and kind of nitty-gritty information from the ICE faculty for you. If you're looking to see what's on the schedule, you can check out the schedule. It was posted yesterday on Instagram and Facebook through the ICE account, so you can check the schedule out and get signed up. Registration will close on Tuesday, so make sure you get in. It will not open again for 3 more months. We only open registration once a quarter. So check out Virtual ICE and get signed up if you're interested. $29 a month. You get 24 CEUs if you stick around for a year. We meet every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you can't always make it live or never make it live, we record it so you can watch it on recording. So check out Virtual ICE. Some live courses coming your way. If you're in California, you can still catch Jeff Moore this weekend for cervical spine management in Santa Rosa. Or if you're up north a ways, you can catch Zach Morgan for lumbar spine management in Simi Valley. And then you can catch Mitch out on the East Coast with Guillermo for Fitness Athlete Live in Bear, Delaware. Then we'll have a week off for 4th of July, and we'll have another week off the week of the 10th. We have a bunch of courses that weekend in Wisconsin and elsewhere, but they are private. So we'll kick things back off with live courses the weekend of July 24th and 25th. Again, if you're in California, we're in California a bunch now that it's reopening. You can join Jordan Berry in Santa Barbara for lumbar spine management. Again, that's July 24th and 25th. And then if you are on the East Coast, you can catch Justin Dunaway in Hopewell Junction, New York for total spine management. Again, that's the weekend of July 24th and 25th. Online courses next week. Fitness Athlete Pregnancy and Postpartum starts with Christina and Alexis, and then after 4th of July, you can join Jason, Megan, and Rachel for Rehab of the Injured Runner online, or Mitch and Zach for Fitness Athlete Advanced Concepts if you've already taken Fitness Athlete Essential Foundation. So that's what's coming your way from ICE. Let's get in today's topic on Leadership Thursday. We're talking about different PT business models, and so we're not talking about insurance versus cash here. We're not looking at that. What we're looking at here is literally what are the different ways that your business can run regardless of what payment method you accept, regardless if you're cash only, regardless if you take insurance or if you're a hybrid clinic that takes a mixture of both. What are the different ways that we can model our businesses, and what does that look like? So we'll start from the top, and we'll go through kind of what many of you are very familiar with, which is the more traditional PT business model. So this model can work in a cash-based way, but traditionally we see this model operating in clinics that accept insurance. So it's mainly referral-based, right? We're kind of used to this, that passive referrals kind of just flow to the clinic through past relationships or just guilty by association, being nearby a primary care office or a referral from maybe an orthopedic surgeon or maybe even something like a dentist. No matter what, these referrals from different physicians kind of flow in, and there's not a lot of direct access. So there's kind of this passive stream of referrals that come into the clinic. This is probably the model we're all most familiar with. Now, these clinics tend to be, by nature of being insurance-based, typically, tend to be very admin-heavy. And so what we see in these clinics is there are a lot of back-end people. There is an insurance biller. There may be an insurance coordinator, somebody that just deals with calling on claims and getting insurance authorization. So there may actually be 2 different people dealing with insurance and billing and the coordination of insurance here. There's probably a front desk person or two, and there may be even an overall office manager of all those different people. So in a typical traditional clinic that has at least a couple therapists on board, we see an almost equal amount of administrative personnel, maybe 3 to 5, which can add a lot of expense to the clinic, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Because there's a lot of expense, if we have 3 to 5 people who are, yes, doing work, but not generating any additional revenue to the clinic, the money to pay those people has to come from somewhere. Where does it come from? It comes from the PT's pay, right? So that money that you generate when you see a patient and you bill the insurance company or you take their cash, where does it go? A lot of it goes to those administrative personnel, and so there's a lot of back-end costs there. Combine that with maybe a high rent or mortgage in a nice neighborhood or a big building, and we can very quickly see how our fixed costs will result in getting PT pay cut a lot. And then, of course, we're unfortunately very familiar with this usually results in an increase in patient volume as well. So patient volume goes up, PT pay goes down as a clinic grows, and we hire more folks to deal with all the back-end administrative work. Now, what is nice about this model is that admin stuff does not generally fall on to the traditional staff physical therapist, which can be nice. You are usually not dealing with coordinating insurance, submitting authorizations, dealing with any sort of billing or anything like that, or even scheduling your own patients. There is a team of support folks who do that for you. So it has pros and cons. We need to zoom out and say, yes, we're probably not getting paid as much as we would like to be, but we also don't have as much administrative burden as we're used to, or that could be there if we didn't have all those staff personnel there. And so that's our traditional model. Now, what comes with this is almost always that the physical therapists are on a salary, which has mostly cons. So something a long time ago that Jeff Moore told me, the CEO of the Institute of Clinical Excellence, is that if you have a really high performer, it's in your best interest to get them on a salary as soon as possible, because then you get to capitalize on all of their work and you're not paying them by the hour. These folks tend to naturally be high performers. They tend to do a really good job, and they don't tend to mind working more than usual. So obviously that type of person would benefit the most personally from being paid hourly. It was kind of ironic that Jeff told me this right after he offered me a salary at ICE, right? So he kind of knew what he was doing. He was ahead of his time. So these models tend to be salary-based, and they tend to be really hard to see forward movement in that salary. We've talked before about what percent of your pay, of your salary, should be compared to patient revenue, and we would argue definitely north of 30%. Of thinking about all the revenue that you generate as a provider, you want at least 30% of that coming back to you as a salary, and those numbers are going to differ based on geography if you're taking insurance. So in a nutshell, that's our traditional insurance-based clinic and our traditional model, where the staff therapist just sees whoever shows up on their schedule. Administratively, they don't control a lot of what happens day to day. They come to work and they see the patients and they bill the patients and then they go home. And so that's where a lot of physical therapists practice. And there are pros and cons there. The other model is what we'll call an eat what you kill model. This is the model we use here at Health HQ. I'm going to talk about Health HQ a little bit, but before we get too deep into it, I think it's important to know that what works for one clinic and one group of therapists may not work for another. So as I explain different models, I don't want you to think, well, that sounds better, that's the model I need to be in. Again, every model has pros and cons. So the eat what you kill method is a little bit different. Instead of a lot of passive stream of referrals to the clinic, it's more about the individual therapist kind of attracting their own specialty clientele. So here at Health HQ, for example, we have a pelvic floor physical therapist who attracts obviously a lot of folks who need help with pelvic floor physical therapy. We have myself and Mitch, who specialize in the CrossFit athlete, the active individual, the Olympic weightlifter, the power lifter. And I have a preference for older adults as well. So we each kind of have our own niche, and then we've just hired Emmett Zepp here, who is good at working with CrossFitters and weightlifters, but also good at working with runners. So we all kind of have our own specialty, and we're all trying to attract kind of our own little group of patients to come and see us in the clinic. So there is going to be naturally some word of mouth that eventually builds to the clinic as you see more and more patients and they tell friends and coworkers and family members, but we don't have as much of a referral stream from different physicians. We do have some, but not a lot. It's primarily direct access, word of mouth. And on here, how we do it is the therapists do more administrative work. So we have no back-end administrative personnel. We have a part-time biller who mainly helps us out with billing on Fridays, kind of end-of-the-week billing, because billing, far and large for insurance, is now automatic and electronic. It's no longer filling out forms and paper. It's usually end of the day just clicking some buttons and getting claims submitted. So it doesn't require a full-time position. And then we have no other administrative staff. We don't have a scheduler. We don't have an insurance coordinator. We don't have any sort of administrative personnel. So what does that mean in this model? That means that the therapist has to do a little bit more of that administrative work. They are expected to schedule their own follow-ups. They're expected to have time on their schedule available for new evaluations that may come in to see them, whether they come through the therapist themselves or they come through the clinic. So the PT does more admin work. Now again, pros and cons here. Here for us, because there's a little bit more admin work, we only expect 30 hours a week of patient care to be full-time. And we expect a couple hours on top of that for documentation and some back-end administrative stuff like scheduling out the next week of patients and insurance authorizations, for example. So again, pros and cons. Less work overall, not expected to see 40 hours or more of patient care a week. So less patients, but a little bit more administrative burden. Because we have less administrative burden, we can pay a little bit better as well. So that's a pro of this model. Now, what are some of the cons of this model? Well, one is that you have to be really good at attracting more patients, right? Your caseload will not stay full if you're not good at delivering outcomes and getting patients to book follow-ups or for word of mouth to spread and get more evaluations on your schedule. So again, pros and cons. More money, a little bit less time worked, but more expectation as far as administrative burden and attracting more patients. And now again, like I talked about, one is not better or worse than the other. They are just different. And what works for one clinic may not work for the other. We're very upfront here when we hire that there will be more admin work than the traditional therapist is used to. Many therapists have maybe never scheduled a patient on their own EMR. They don't know how to do it. They've never dealt with billing or scheduling or any kind of that back-end admin stuff. So it takes a different kind of person, somebody that's okay with that additional workload, that is looking to see less patients a week, that is looking for one-on-one care and being able to spend an hour with a patient in exchange for a little bit more back-end work and the nice benefit of a little bit more pay. Here we're able to pay about 55% of revenue generated, so about twice as much as made in a traditional clinic. So again, pros and cons. There are going to be people, maybe some of you out there are sitting there and thinking, there's no way you could ever get me to sit and fill out insurance authorizations or comb the schedule and block out my schedule and just spend extra time at the computer doing some back-end stuff or social media stuff, and that's okay. Again, model's not better or worse, but just different. What's nice about this model, this Eat What You Kill model, is it can work with any type of payment method. We are primarily an insurance-based clinic. Maybe you could classify us as hybrid, but primarily insurance-based. But this model is also very commonly practiced in cash-based clinics. This is how the onward chain of clinics functions more or less, for example. So again, more administrative work, maybe a couple of extra hours a week, but less patients and more pay. So it's just a matter of what works best for you. When you are in this model, you can't always just jet out for the day and go pick up the kids. You may have to do some insurance authorizations or something for the next week or the next day to make sure you can continue to see those patients. Where in a traditional clinic, somebody else would handle that for you, and when you're done with your last patient, you're done for the day, and you can jet and go home or go grab the kids or go to the gym or whatever. So again, not better or worse, just different. But it's really important to know that there are different models out there. Many of us are used to that first model, that traditional model, and we don't think that anything else exists, which is not true. So if you're on the hunt for a new job, or you're here and you're a student or a new grad and you're looking for your first job, I would really encourage you to explore different models and ask those important questions in interviews of how do you pay? Not just what am I going to get paid, but how do you pay? Where is that number that you're giving me coming from? What data is that based on? What's going to be expected of me as far as back-end admin stuff works? Is there time in my day or in my week budgeted for documentation, or are you expecting me to see 40 patients plus all the documentation, which again would result in more than 40 hours of work a week? And again, on a salary, you can imagine that starts to reduce your pay per hour. Like we talked about, salary is not always the best. Sometimes getting paid by the hour by the patient can be much more lucrative. So I would encourage you all to ask those tough questions in the interview and be really sure that that's the fit for you, not only for the clinic culture and the clinical practice as well, but the business side and the business practice of the clinic as well, and make sure that's dialed in before you say yes to that job offer. So let that ruminate in your head for a while. I'm happy to take questions on Instagram or Facebook, or you can send me an email, info@ice.physio. Be happy to answer questions or have some discussion about this with you all. I hope you all have a fantastic Thursday. Enjoy Gut Check Thursday, and then we will see you all next time. I'll be back here next Thursday. Have a great weekend. If you're going to be out in California with Jeff or Zach, enjoy. If you're going to be in Baton Rouge with Jordan, enjoy. If you're going to be out in Sedona with Christina and the older adult crew, enjoy. If you're going to be in Bear, Delaware with the wonderful Lindsay Huey and Mitch Babcock, enjoy Fitness Athlete. Have a great Thursday. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye, everybody.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.